Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 2 of the Ambrami's Football Manager 2017 YouTube experiment, Newport County Russian Takeover. And there you go, still occupying 4th place, still in touching distance of the title. So, we're on the 2nd of February now. Has Flynn brought anyone else in? Only somebody else on loan, and sent out Kai Smith again on loan. Is that Keziah Sterling? Is that how you pronounce it? Who is a striker? I thought the players were scoring enough goals. I wouldn't have thought they would have needed a striker. But he was playing 3 up front, wasn't he? So maybe it was just to sort of reinforce everything. Now, Keziah Sterling's had 2 games without a goal, played half decent in them by the looks of it. Top scorer at the moment, still Reynolds, 13. Fair play to him. He gets himself some goals, didn't he? Let's hope that's something to come in real life. But Amond with 8, Nublé with 7, Dolan chipping in nicely from midfield with 6, Marlon Jackson obviously coming off the bench with 4, Tyler Reid from right back scoring 3, and I'm not going to list everybody in their accomplishments anyway. Robbie Wilmot's still not getting a game and has been transfer listed. That's a shame, but we can't really fault Flynn for what he's doing. He's got us into 4th place, but as much in touching distance as the top 3 is, a bad run could see County fall out of the playoffs altogether. So they're going to need to sort of stay on top of this. So like I say, it's been a bit disappointing, and I'm quite surprised that there's been no transfer activity. I do find that a bit strange. I mean, let's have a little look. The media prediction was 17th, so they're far surpassing that. Labadi's captain, Pipe is vice captain. That's a good choice for vice captain. Facilities, obviously, we've still got all those same facilities. The pitch is still in perfect condition, and all of the other facilities are still the same. Everything is average, which at the moment is good for obviously the level that Newport County are at. So, like I say, again, ignore the rent. The club now owns Rodney Parade. The overall capacity is obviously 11,000. 9,800 can be used for football. Right then. So at the moment, so far so good. Still in 4th place. Josh Sheehan chipping in nicely there. It's good at the moment. I mean, obviously the loan players are obviously doing well. So not bringing anyone in, not delving into the finances just yet, is proving to be pretty good at the moment. Keeping the budget down, saving the money for when they get into the bigger leagues, maybe. But would they have needed some players to basically get over the line? I mean, they're obviously in a position where promotion is possible in the first season. Would it not have been worth bringing in a couple of quality players that would tip the odds more in their favour, should we say? But like I say, Flynn's the manager. Flynn is our man. Ultimately, it's up to him. But him and his team are obviously doing well. And the Russians must be pretty happy with what they're seeing so far. So, how about we conclude this football season, the first season? Let's conclude it, and let's have a little look and see where Flinny ends up leading the mighty Newport County at the end of the first season. But before we do that, of course, we're going to have a little look, because they were on the verge of possibly getting themselves onto a bit of a cup run. And as you can see, they ended up knocking Southend out in a replay. So that's 2 replays they've had to play in the FA Cup at the moment. But they got to play Bournemouth at home, and we do have a match report for that one. As you can see, Bournemouth run the show. Obviously, they got the players there to do it. And County's chances were very few and far between. Although, I would be disappointed losing 3-1 against 10 men, considering they were only 1-0 down at the time. Adam Smith getting sent off for Bournemouth. But we are talking Premier League. And basically, to compete with these teams, they're going to need to spend a bit of money, which they haven't done yet. But like I say, I mean, if Kane can go up in this first season, then I'd imagine the checkbook will come out then. And then they'll start signing that extra bit of quality that will push on to championship promotion. So if they can make it in the first season, the 10 years, the 10-year target for the Premier League, you could pretty much say it's only really a 5-year target. Because is it going to take 4 seasons to get into the Premier League with that kind of money? It shouldn't do. So, looking forward to finding out. Let's see how this season concludes. Okay then everybody, we're here now, it's the end of the season, it's the 31st of May, and as you can see, Newport County missed out on promotion, unfortunately. Obviously, you can see they finished 7th, so they made it into the playoffs. Let's have a little look. So they took on Plymouth in the playoffs and lost 2-1. Let's have a little look at this now. Because if we look at these games now, so we drew 0-0 at home to Plymouth and then lost 2-1 away, so that's pretty standard really. I mean, Plymouth are one of the bigger teams in the division, so couldn't expect to beat them. But Flinney put his faith in the team he already had, plus the loanees that he brought in, and unfortunately Newport County haven't got promoted, losing 11 games in the process, but drawing too many. They only missed out on top 3 by 2 points, but only made it in the playoffs by 1. So it was a very, very close season. So all the way down to 10th, any one of those teams could have finished top 3 within the last couple of days. So looking at it, it's mainly, well, Portsmouth and Doncaster went up. Obviously Plymouth and Blackpool were the ones who went up in real life. Morecambe and Crawley go down. Accrington just about saved themselves. But that's a very, very low points total for those bottom clubs, because it's usually around about the high 40s, low 50s, which usually saves you. But what can I say? Newport County didn't do it this time around. So yeah, Michael Flynn's still there. The Russians are still around. Well, now I think it's time to spend the money. I think he thought he could do it on the squad that he had. They are going to need an upgrade on this one. I did that guy and getting on, the one from Tottenham, didn't do too well. Scored 3 goals in 21 appearances and only set 1 up. Matt Dolan had a great season, 10 assists, 7 goals. George Byers had a great season. So George Byers is someone they could maybe look to get back for a season. Josh Sheehan had a decent season for us. So all in all, the captain didn't figure much. That's a bit of a shame, that is. I wonder if he got injured a lot or suspended a lot, knowing him. But no, I mean, looking at it, Lamar Reynolds is a star in the making. I wouldn't have thought County are going to keep hold of him next season. So he's mainly a winger for the right side, can play on the left. Not much of a striker, but he's there scoring the goals though, so you can't really fault it, really, can you? Can't fault it at all. So if you're Newport County right now, are you disappointed you didn't go up? I'd say no, with obviously keeping hold of the squad. But then, looking at the money that they had, would you be disappointed that you didn't spend the money to make sure you did go up? I think the answer to that has to be yes. So let's have a little look at how everybody figured. Okay, so Josh Labardi, 4 red cards. Yeah, so I'd imagine that's what kept him out of the team mainly, is the amount of times he got himself bloody sent off. Man of the match, none of the Newport County players were anywhere near that. Mathieu Baudry, Frenchman for Doncaster, 14 man of the matches. Where's the average rating? There we go. Yeah, so Baudry being the most man of the matches, I'd imagine the average rating, he would have won on that one. The thing is, we didn't have many individuals, really, did we, looking at it? So let's have a look at the goals tally. So Doyle being the main man for Portsmouth, who were the champions. Lamar Reynolds was in on it. He was in the top 10 top goal scorers, but looking at it, Newport County did not have any individuals at all. Assists. Well, Byers was in the top 10 for assists, but they didn't really have anybody that stood out I mean, you look at all the promoted teams. All the promoted teams had someone up in the top part on the individual charts. So most clean sheets. Well, Joe Day was 5th with most clean sheets, but still, individuals cost money. Newport County at this particular moment have money. So would it be worth getting in and actually spending some of it for next season? Let's have a little look at some of the games across the season. Any particular shock results? Anything that stands out? I mean, looking at it, it all looks pretty standard. Being knocked out of the EFL Cup in the first round by Cardiff away, 2-1. It's not a bad effort, really, if you think about it. I say, a bit of a shame to lose the game, but hey, there you go. That happens. Losing 3-0 away to Portsmouth, that's about right. Scrolling down, Checker Trade Trophy was a disappointment, losing every game, but you can understand with the company that they're keeping, West Ham under 23s, Plymouth and Oxford, you can understand why they didn't win any. They just say, if they had a few more individuals, that might have been different. A half-decent cup run, getting to the third round to get a tie against Bournemouth. Well, we had a TV game at least. That'd have been a little bit of money. But money's not something that we're looking at the moment. We don't need the money. Particularly bad run there, losing at home 3-0 to Doncaster. Not winning for how many games? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games without a win. That little period is what could have cost them. Or maybe this little period here, either side of the Bournemouth game. But coming to it, the end of the season, those 3 draws, drawing at home to Morecambe and drawing away to Accrington, now if they'd converted them into wins, they'd have been promoted in the top 3. Just goes to show how thin a margin it is in football. I mean, you look at it, Blackpool winning against Blackpool at home 2-0 was a good result, but then losing to Notts County 3-0 would have been a disappointment. That's there where you think top 3 is gone. Top 3 could have been a possibility if County could have got because they'd obviously got the win against Exeter. They went at the Notts County game, lost 3-0, and that was it then, basically. Beating Blackpool was just cementing the playoffs, basically, which a couple of more of those bad results, because look at that. Look from this game here, from this Blackpool away, which looked like a good win, on a good run at that particular time. So from there, they won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games they won from, where was I looking? From Blackpool, from that Blackpool point there, where they were on a particularly decent run. They won 7 games, so if we count the Blackpool winning, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games. They won 8 games in that period. So from Boxing Day, they won 8 games. I mean, lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 league games. So they lost nearly as many as they won. I think that's the second half of the season. They just needed that bit of quality in that team to convert a couple of those games into some wins. But like I say, they got the money there now. So I hope to God that they start using it. I mean, look, only loan players adding to a pretty thin squad as it was anyway. So I say the squad size is probably what let them down. A couple of injuries and the squad is torn to pieces. So I think Bittner's now retired from football. It's about time, really. But David Pipe did look like he wasn't really used. He was used mainly in the reserves. It's a bit of a shame. No, because he's not on this page either. So he was bombed into the reserves, wasn't used, like Robbie Wilmot. Well, like I say, small squad, lone players who may not be as dedicated, but still, you look at that, there's no individuals. They need a couple of individuals that will boost that team. Game winners, game changers. I'd say reinforce everywhere. They want another goalkeeper. They want to bolster their defence a bit. They'll need a proper holding midfielder that isn't going to get sent off like Labadie. And if they're going to play that 4-3-3, they need a midfield box to box. They need a Dolan is their man who's obviously creating a lot, along with Byers. They just need that one that's going to spoil the opposition's play from the centre. They're going to play three strikers. They need to. Obviously, Newblay is good. Amond is good. So they got the makings of a good one there. They just need to bolster it that little bit. And another a top player that's going to trump all of them. But like I say, it's up to Flinney. I think I'll leave it there then, guys. I don't want to bore you anymore with that one. But that's season 1. No promotion this time around. No money spent, which is disappointing because that's when it's going to get exciting to see how the money gets used. So I'll take it now up until the 2nd of July, and that's where we'll start our next episode from. So thanks very much for watching. That was episode 2. Episode 3 will be out in a couple of days' time. So thanks again, and as always, cheerio for now.